Today, let's see the overall course content, and then we will just start off with the little bit of introduction to the Linux and on daily basis that where we are using, then how we are going to administrate the Linux. And I think basically you all from the MSSQL DBA background or a DBA background, so you'll be in daily in your environments. So you'll be installing the DBA on top of the Linux systems, and you have to manage them. So this course will help you to manage your environment up to the basic level. So you'll be able to manage, like if in case of any problems occurs for your Linux server, or if you want to check something relevant to your MSSQL DBA or whatever the application you are managing in your environments. This will help you to understand the basic commands and how you can manage the systems efficiently. So let's start with a little bit of Linux background. So I think mostly you might have aware of. I think mostly I heard like MSSQL DB or DBAs will be mostly using the Windows system. There will be a very less usage of the Linux. But in vast environments, like when come to the real time, right? So you'll be having the Linux also. Why? Because Linux, everybody will prefer Linux. Linux is like standard environment, like it is a performance is high when compared to the Windows. So I'm not comparing here the Linux and the Windows. Yeah, everything, but even Windows has its own importance, and the Linux also has its own importance when comes to the performance. But yeah, when comes to the Linux, it has a more efficiently. It will manage the applications when it comes to the performance. Why? Because this is a completely command line interface. Uh, when you see the difference between the command line interface and the a GUI, GUI will consume more resources from your hardware. So that's the reason like your application will have some less performance, like you will face some performance issues in the Windows. That will definitely reduce in the Linux, where we have the command line interface. It will consume very less amount of the hardware resources. That is a just main difference, that why everybody will tend to go to the Linux, and they wanted to manage the applications in the Linux. And also with when comes to the OS perspective, so Linux is a freeware open source, so it doesn't require any license up to some extent. That's the reason also, that is also one of the reason that why everybody wanted to use the Linux. And it's freely available. You can download, you can install the OS, and without having any license, without having any vendor support, or if you want to install any kind of applications, everything is available openly. And also that community support also you will get for the Linux. There are many flavors. Let's see like what is the difference, like what was the background of the Linux, and when it was invented, when it was invented, and how we can how it was developed, from which flavors it was extracted, from where it was extracted, the Linux. First of all, the Linux was invented by Linus Torvalds in 1991. uh, the name of the Linux named based on his name. His name was Linus, so like it was named as a Linux. It's a basically Unix flavor. So Unix platforms, everybody might have aware there were old Unix flavors, like HP Unix, Solaris. Those are the core Unix systems. So supercomputers in earlier days, supercomputers, everything was managed by using these Unix flavors. So from the Unix, it was extracted as a Linux. So it was own like developed component. One component they have taken, and then they have developed, and then Unix is not that user friendly. It will be little more hardware related things. You'll it is very difficult to understand Unix. That's the reason they developed, and they extracted the flavor that is called Linux. There are multiple Linux distributions in the market. When we have the most popular is the Red Hat. That is most enterprise versions, like every environment or every organization will use. CentOS is a open source again. This will be used in like lower environments. It is not preferable to use in the production environments or production environments. Why? Because CentOS does not have any proper like vendor support. Suppose let's take a Red Hat. Red Hat, if you are using the Red Hat, you will have a proper support from the vendor, Red Hat support, Red Hat vendor. And when comes to the production environment, in case of any problem occurs in the OS level or OS crash or something, to restore the system or something, that you will not have the support from the vendor when you use the CentOS in the production environments. That's the reason it is not preferable to use the CentOS in the CentOS or other free, other vendorless support systems in, sorry, OS in the production environment. So in the lower environments that we and even for the practice purpose you can use the CentOS. CentOS and the Red Hat both are the very similar. From Red Hat community, few people have separated and they have developed CentOS um, for the vast usage for the all the users. It is easily available, so you can just download and then install and start using of the Linux in your systems. So that is what like all about the OS. And when comes to the Linux, how it is differ from the Windows. So as I said, like both are similar. One is when comes to the Windows, it is completely a graphical user interface. When you click, one single click will do the all the works. But when comes to the Linux, it is completely command line interface. So you have to enter the commands to manage your systems or to talk to your OS, to talk to your hardware resources, whatever, everything is command based. That's the reason many people may not like the Linux when they're using or when they're addicted to the Windows. But once you start using Linux, and you will have the more interest, and you will be able to manage efficiently. And also like it is completely black interface. So completely command line interface is a completely black. So it is not colorful. And when you see something, if it is a colorful, then we will be like more, we will get more interest to use it. But when you see completely black screen or something, we will be like less interest, and we will not much intended to use it. But when you start using the command lines, command everything, then it will be very interesting, Linux. And let's see like what is the basic architecture, like how it is built. Linux was built. So let's have the small diagram. Let's understand the basics. So we will have, so everything, every OS will have one hardware. Every OS will have one hardware. Even Windows will have, Linux will have, everything will be installed on top of hardware. So hardware in the sense like here it is a combination of memory, CPU, and the storage, obviously. So even our basic systems also combination of the memory, CPU, storage. So the same way, you need to have one server. We will call it as a server in a real-time environment. So on top of that hardware, so you should be having the you should install the OS. But in Linux, in between the hardware and the OS, we will be having one more layer called kernel. Let me, yeah, yeah, basically here your hardware will be there. Here it is your base hardware, like as I said, it is a server. On top of that, you will have kernel. This is actually the base component for the Linux. And on top of that, you will have the OS. This is basically a software. So on top of the hardware, this is the kernel. So kernel will be installed along with your OS installation. So this is why, what is kernel? What is the importance of the kernel? What it is, what it actually do. So the kernel will help you to and talk to your OS to the hardware. So there should be a communication between the hardware and OS, right? So this kernel will manage that communication and it will pass all the information whatever you are entering, whatever you are managing as part of this OS. So OS software means like here basically this is a user interface. We will call it as a user interface. So here, like in Linux, how the communication, whatever the we are entering, the commands, whatever we will enter, right? So how it is communicating to the hardware. So that is basically with through the shell. So we will call it as a shell. That is the user interface which is developed in the OS, which is one component in the OS. So whatever the commands you will be entering into the shell, that will understand by the kernel. Kernel will transfer into the hardware, and from hardware you will get the enough response. So basically kernel is the main mediator. So it will pass the communication between the hardware and the OS. So this is the basic infrastructure, basic outline. So on top of this OS we will have the applications installed. So in applications means there are plenty of applications, web applications, normal applications, and also like when comes to the DBA database, MS SQL will be MS SQL Server will be installed, and MongoDB. There are multiple databases that where you will be installing on top of the OS. So first we need to understand. So we don't need to much understand in depth about this hardware and kernel. We need to understand the OS part and the user interface and the shell commands that what we are going to use on daily basis to talk to your application, right? So this course will help you to drive your daily basis tasks, and how you will be installing, how you will be managing the applications on top of the Linux. And when comes to the mainly like on daily basis, that what you will be using, you need to check your CPU performance, memory, IO pages. So everything, all these like concepts will be explained in this demo session. And also like you will be able to understand the files management, like how you will be copying the files from one system to the another system, maybe between the two Linux servers and between that one Linux server and one Windows server. And also like what level of permissions is required, minimum basics, and how what are the users will be there, that what is the importance of the users to manage your systems. And also like do you need any additional users required, means like how you will be configuring, how you will be managing them. And also like you will be understanding the basic file system infrastructure, like what are the basic file systems are available, on top of which file system your applications will be residing. And also like you will come to know what are the basic log files, and how to read them in case of any issues occurred in your application or OS level. You no need to understand much in depth about the OS level, because that will be definitely Linux administration part. But when comes to your application, you need to know minimal understanding of the OS logs. So that will be shared, that we will be able, that we are going to discuss about in depth about the OS logs. We have just prepared some content for this demo session. So day one, we are going to see the Linux background already we have seen, but yeah, we are just going to discuss more in depth what are the flavors, what are the versions, and what are the different vendors available for the Linux. And we will be seeing the OS installation and the setup. So how we are going to download the OS, and how we are going to install, what is the minimum installation steps required required, we are going to see that. So followed by the data session, like we will be having the VA editor basics, that which is very much important when you start off with the Linux. And also like post installation steps, that what are the basic changes that you are going to do for your system once the OS is installed. Next, the basic commands which are required for to manage your day-to-day activities. On the day three, like we will be having the basic understanding of the file systems. like how there are many advanced file systems are developed recently, that we are going to see that what are the use cases for these file systems. And LVM is one of the most common important part of the Linux file system. You should know about this LVM also. Why? Because your application will be residing on the file system. You should know minimum basics, minimum basic understanding of this, how the LVM was developed, and how it has been structured to manage your file system usage or file system management. And the day for that, we will be dealing with the file system and permissions, that how the file systems and files and directories are files and directory structure has been defined, derived. And also we will be seeing the permissions, that how the permissions will be managed for the files and directories when when we are working with the multiples people in the single server. And also, like, we will be seeing the copying files from between the Linux servers and between the Windows server, the various ways that how you'll be copying the files and directories. Then day five will be the your service management. Definitely, when you are dealing with your application, you should know how to start and stop the services. And also, as I said, like, how you should know, you should understand the log files, basic log files, and how you can read it, how to find out the any issues which are logged into the log files. So then use, as I said, like, user management. This is a just basic user management which will be helpful for your application users. Like, if password is expired, how to check and how do you can reset it. That is the most important thing, that when you are dealing with your applications, the application user management is definitely mandatory. So you will be you will come to know all the basics related to your user management. And the day 6 will be your patch and package management. This is not up to the Linux administration, but yeah, definitely that it will help you to install whatever the packages required for you to install your applications, are in case in middle something, that if you want to install or upgrade your applications, that how you are going to patch your how you are going to install the required binaries, required packages. So we will let you know, like, you will come to know, you will understand basic package installation steps in the Linux. And the day 7 would be more on to the performance monitoring. Performance monitoring is definitely mandatory for you to manage your daily tasks, as I said earlier. So this is more relevant to the CPU usage, memory usage, and IO pages. Like, definitely, when you are having, when you are installed application on the Linux server, you should have a knowledge on how the CPU is, how the CPU uses, how the memory uses. Based on these components, only your performance of the application will be dependent. So you should have the basic understanding in case of your perform if your application performance is low. You should know, like, where you have to go and check your usages, and then what are the actions, basic actions that you are going to take. And then we will be discussing on the troubleshooting the basic issues, that in case of any issues with your files, any issues with your application performance, when with respect to the process check, like, process will be there in the server, like how you have to check, and how you have to identify which process is consuming more, and how what are the actions you are going to take, and basic troubleshooting issues that we are going to discuss. This is all about, this is just 7 days course, and you will just, this is just for the beginners. So you will understand the basic administration, and you will definitely by end of this course, you will be able to manage your system on your own. So this is completely a level 1 course. uh, we have designed this course like based on these SQL DBAs, especially. So hope this course will help you to drive your day-to-day tasks. And I think based on the response after this demo session, we are going to announce the timings, and then we are going to share this content, and we will start off the course. Um, I think, yeah, today that's pretty much enough. I think we are done with the demo session. So if you have any doubts or something, like, yeah, you can contact through the DBA channel, that mssql DBA channel, through the YouTube. We will be definitely helping you to answering your questions. Hope this course will help you further. Thank you for joining. Do you have any questions for now? Or maybe if you want, you can ask us later. Yeah. If there are no questions, then we are just winding up this session, and we will be posting this demo. And based on the response that we will be starting the classes maybe next week. I'm not sure exactly about the date, but yeah, Harsha will announce the date and the course details in
Sure,
next
Aparna.
week. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Aparna.
Aparna.